guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reviewing NCT 127's Sticker. We're mainly going to be talking about the title track and people's receptions towards that, though I will kind of briefly touch on my thoughts on the album. But yeah, I originally wasn't even going to make this video today. I was going to wait at least a week and let the album marinate and just really solidify my thoughts. But after seeing everybody's reactions, I was like, I also need to throw my 2 cents in. So here we are. I just want to say as a disclaimer, this is just my opinion, and I respect everybody else's opinion, and I will be talking about just a lot of different thoughts and beliefs and things that are going on. So just, don't be offended. This is all just my opinion, but we all already know that. So let's get into the video. Starting with Sticker itself. So I don't know if you guys know this about me, but NCT is my favorite K-pop group. So I was really anticipating this release, and I woke up this morning and it was the first thing that I did was watch the video, and I really liked the song. The chorus is so vocally heavy because the instrumental is so pulled back, which I like because most of the time, especially recently, their choruses have been really chanty. So to kind of lean into the dance aspect of it, so to hear a lot of, full on singing was really nice. And speaking of the vocals, I really like all of the fun vocal moments that Doyoung and Haechan have when they're growling, or just all the things delivery wise that are happening. I just think it's really interesting. And I thought the dancing was nice, and I like what it added to the song. I kind of had two minor issues with the song, but basically the first one is that this is quite literally Don't Call Me 2.0. After I first listened to it and I tried to recall what it sounded like, all I could hear in my head was Don't Call Me. And even now I know the song a little better because I've listened to it a couple more times, but they're still very similar. And also, the song doesn't really go anywhere. It's we have the whole first, it feels section from the beginning up until the bridge, but then once the dance break kicks in, there's another kind of, there's a shift, but then we go right back to where we were before the dance break. It doesn't build on the momentum that it started picking up, so it just kind of stays there. But apparently my criticisms are mild compared to the fact that everyone else seems to hate this song. I was very shocked because there weren't any glaring problems. It wasn't extremely different from their other songs. So I was just a little confused as to why people didn't like the song. So I just kind of wanted to address some of those. The first one was that I just saw someone, this was one person, so this isn't really that valid, but I still wanted to address it. But, well, I mean, whatever. I saw someone say that it was Punch 2.0, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because I find Punch very theatrical and big, where Sticker is a lot more stripped back. So I just was like, that's weird. And then the main criticism that I heard was that it was noisy, which, okay, it doesn't have the typical, I feel when you think noise music, you think beat drop in the chorus, and Sticker doesn't necessarily have that, but that doesn't mean that it can't be noisy. But I see that it's noisy in the sense that, the few sounds that they did pick don't necessarily all mesh really well. You sort of see what function they're supposed to have. The flute sort of supposed to be the melody line, and the other sound is supposed to be the drum or sort of kick. But you just wouldn't really expect those sounds to be playing those roles, so I get how it sounds weird. And a lot more noise does also come during the dance break. And I will say, I realized when I was listening to the dance break again for this specific part, it sounds really similar to the Kick It dance break. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I don't know, I still think it all works and comes together, just for me though, apparently. But let's be honest, in 3 years, everyone is going to say the song was ahead of its time, and if it was released today, it'd be topping the charts. So let's just say I'm 3 years ahead. The second thing that I wanted to talk about in this video was the reception of the song. So after I listened to it for the first time, I went on Twitter to see what everybody was saying, and everybody was posting their opinion, as they do on Twitter. And a lot of the ways that people were talking about this song just bothered me. One minor thing that I saw, and this was literally one specific person, but I'm still gonna address it anyway, was someone being like, we should respect, they're basically saying, guys, we should respect all the hard work and effort that the boys put into this song, and that we shouldn't be so quick to judge, something along those lines. Just basically almost condemning people for not liking the song, which is sort of an issue in and of itself, because it's you're allowed to be a fan of something and still think for yourself and be like, I don't really like the song, or I think this is weird, because that's just how it works. But my bigger issue with it was that it just read very, now I know this person probably had good intentions, but it just came off as being very like, oh, like guys, they tried really hard this time, like don't be mean to them. Like they put hard work into every comeback. Like obviously they wouldn't be here if they didn't work hard. So I just feel like them working hard isn't really a good reason to like the song. I feel like it should be based on the actual merits of the song itself. Which brings us into our next point. I just felt like people were being so weird. Like no matter what NCT do, they're always gonna get compared to someone else or some other group in some sort of way. Like I didn't understand why people were being like X song is better than Sticker when the song was completely unrelated. Like when Queendom came out, nobody was comparing it to Hello Future because you wouldn't even think to compare the two songs. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with comparison in and of itself. Like I literally did it like 2 minutes ago when I said the song sounded like Don't Call Me. But it was like, this sounds like this. I wasn't saying that like, I wasn't being like Replay is a much better song than Sticker. Because it's like, why would you say that? There's no, it just doesn't logically make sense. And they're obviously always going to be compared to NCT Dream, and that is like a whole nother beast. Like we could write essays, college papers on the amount of comparison that goes on between NCT Dream and NCT 127, specifically on Twitter, but we're not going there. But all I have to say about that is, guys, we're on the same team. Why are we fighting? Literally, why are we fighting? Anyway, it just bothers me overall that people don't say, I don't like this song because it's weird, or I don't like this song because it's noisy, or because I just don't like it. Like, obviously, people are allowed to dislike a song for whatever reason, but the way that people bring in other groups and just unrelated factors without even saying, like, without even bringing in metrics and standards, just almost doing it for the sake of doing it, it just, I don't know, it just bothers me because we're not even talking about the music itself and sort of like our thoughts and our opinions and like furthering the discussion and having interesting discourse. We're just like saying things that are dumb. Anyway, the last topic that I'm going to be talking about in this video, very briefly, is the album itself. I'm not going to go into it just because, I don't know, I kind of just wanted to talk about the Twitter stuff and sort of just my reaction to the song, but I will post like my sort of, I guess, in-depth review, not very formal though. I'll post it on Twitter, so if you are interested to see how I feel about all of the songs, you can go there. But for now, I'm going to say that I loved this album. I like it a lot more than Neozone. Like, I feel like Neozone is the album that everybody loves from them, but I'm just like, I'm kind of like mid on it. Like, there's definitely songs that I like on it, but I don't know. I don't really find myself going back to it a lot. Anyway, this video is about Sticker, not Neozone. But I just love Sticker because it feels like there's a little bit of everything. I particularly loved the return of angry boy group music. Let me tell y'all something. I obviously like NCT, so I like weird noise music. But specifically just angry boy group music, I felt like I was really lacking. Like that was an area that just I just needed more of. So I'm glad that they provided it with like Bring the Noise and Lemonade. I was just like, ooh, yes. I was just really, really living for it. I also loved the more laid back tracks and just the way they let the vocals take a little lead. And yeah, I just was loving everything that was going on here. I'm absolutely obsessed with this album as of right now. That's about all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.